Hello everyone, welcome to English Tutorials by Poonam. The Laburnum Top by Ted Hughes is the name of the poem I'm going to discuss in this video, which is part of CBSE Class 11th Hornbill English textbook. So let's get started. Topics covered: about the poet, introduction of the poem, line by line explanation, theme, central idea, followed by poetic devices used in the poem. Let me tell you about the poet first. Edward James Ted Hughes was born in West Yorkshire. He was an English poet, translator, and children's writer. Critics rank him as one of the best poets of his generation and one of the 20th century's greatest writers. Ted Hughes' special contribution to English poetry lies in the creation of a poetic world with a great interest in wild animals and birds. He was ranked fourth on the Times list of the 50 greatest British writers in 2008. Hughes won many of Europe's highest literary honours and was appointed Poet Laureate of England in 1984, a post he held until his death in 1998. About the poem. The poem, through striking image, portrays the moods of various phenomena of nature in autumn. The autumn season is marked with its silence and serenity. It has its own movements, motions, music, and thrill. Yellow is dominating color in the poem and symbolizes silence, desolation, death, and decay. The poem has been divided into three stanzas. The first stanza describes the tree before the bird reaches it. The second stanza describes the coming of the bird, and the final stanza tells the condition of the tree when the bird goes away. The poem is composed in free verse. The poem revolves around the laburnum tree and the goldfinch bird. It presents the sweet and repaying relationship between the tree and the bird. The leaves on the laburnum tree have started turning yellow, seeds have already fallen, and the tree stands quiet and still in the afternoon of September during the autumn season. However, it comes to life as soon as the goldfinch arrives and perches on it to feed her young ones. As soon as she leaves, the tree becomes elusively silent again. Now I'm going to explain the poem in detail. Before that, let me tell you few facts about the laburnum tree. In Hindi, the laburnum is known as amaltas. It has bright yellow flowers and it is also known as golden chain tree or golden rain due to beautiful densely packed yellow pendulous flowers. All parts of laburnum tree are poisonous. So we can say the laburnum top is a poem of death, decay and life. Death is conveyed by the laburnum tree and life as in the form of goldfinch bird who has set her nest in the thickness of the tree to protect her young ones. It's quite amazing to see how life is thriving in a tree which symbolizes death. It's a kind of symbiotic relationship between the tree and the bird. It's not only the bird which needs or requires the tree, but tree also requires the bird as it fills it with life, movement and thrills. Let's read the poem and try to understand one line at a time. The laburnum top is silent, quite still. In the afternoon yellow September sunlight, a few leaves yellowing, all its seeds fallen. The poet has depicted onset of the autumn season. The laburnum leaves have started yellowing and its seeds are already scattered all over the place. Let me give you the meaning of the words used in the first stanza. Laburnum tree is a short tree with hanging branches, yellow flowers and poisonous seeds. Laburnum top, the top of the laburnum tree, it's the highest branch. Poetic devices play a very important role in any poem. In first three lines we have assonance enjambment, and alliteration, which I have highlighted in different colors, and I will be explaining them in detail after the explanation of the poem. The poet describes a beautiful sunny autumn. In the first three lines, the poet says that he saw a laburnum tree, the top of which was still and silent in broad daylight of September month. It was autumn season, so the leaves had turned yellow and the seeds had fallen. In the first stanza, the poet says that he saw a laburnum tree with its yellow flowers. In his words, the laburnum top is silent, the tree is still and looks dead like in the daytime of September, even the sunlight is also yellow. As it is the time of autumn, the leaves of the tree have turned yellow and its seeds have fallen off it. In this stanza, the poet uses the image of yellow color repeatedly. First, the tree's flowers are yellow, then its leaves have turned yellow, and the sunlight is also yellow. The yellow color symbolizes beauty because of its flower and decay because the green leaves are turning yellow now and there's a silence all over the place. In the whole stanza, the poet is trying to describe the miserable condition of the laburnum tree, which is silent, leaves turning yellow, and without seeds. Stanza 2. Till the goldfinch comes with a twitching chirrup, a suddenness, a startlement at a branch end. Then sleek as a lizard and alert and abrupt, she enters the thickness and a machine starts up of chitterlings and a tremor of wings and trillings. The whole tree trembles and thrills. It is the engine of her family. She stalks it full, then flirts out to a branch end, showing her barred face identity mask. Let's focus on the keywords used in these lines. Goldfinch is a small, bright yellow colored bird. Twitching means sharp, sudden movement. A repeated high pitched sounds made by a bird is referred as chirrup. A sudden, unexpected action which causes surprise is startlement. Sleek means smooth. Abrupt means sudden or rapidly. A series of short, high sounds are called chitterlings. Trillings also refer to singing repeatedly. Tremor is a slight shaking movement. A sudden feeling of excitement is called thrills. She stalks it full. The expression refers to the goldfinch feeding her young ones to their fill. Just as coal is fed into the fireplace of a steam engine, the mother bird feeds her young ones till their hunger is satisfied. Flirts means bird moving its wings with a quick flicking motion. Barred face marked with stripes or bands of color or light. Let me explain stanza 2 now. The silence of the tree is broken as soon as the goldfinch comes with a twitching chirrup and there's a sudden movement on the tree. The bird is quite vigilant while sitting at a branch end of the tree and has sudden quick movements. Perhaps it is looking out for any danger that might be there. It then goes into the thick part of the laburnum tree smoothly but with alertness. Her entry into the thickness of the branch is swift, sleek, alert, and abrupt, just like a lizard. As soon as she enters the tree, a machine starts up of chitterlings and a tremor of wings and trillings. Her young ones start chirping and shaking with excitement, flapping their wings and making a series of high-pitched sounds which can be compared to the starting of a machine when its engine is ignited. With their chirrups and movements, the tree also comes to life. It suddenly begins to shake as if in excitement. Now the whole tree trembles and thrills because of the mother bird and her young ones. Thus, it becomes the engine of her family. The poet probably wants us to feel how the silent tree becomes alive. As it has given space to the bird and her young ones, the birds have gotten shelter and the tree in return has got life. Children, the goldfinch is called the engine of her family. Just as an engine is required to start up a machine, the bird's young ones also need her support. By feeding her young ones, she has added fuel to machine, and as a result, the chicks now have the energy to be active and make noise. Having fed her family to their fill, she again flies to a branch end, peeping out with her dark colored striped face. Her face is striped, and the bars on her face serve as a mask for her identity. As goldfinch is yellow in color, she becomes invisible in the yellow flowers and yellow leaves of the tree. The barred pattern on her face helps her hide behind the yellow flowers and yellow leaves of the tree. The poet has given two contrasting descriptions of the tree. At first, the laburnum top was motionless, silent, and still before the arrival of the goldfinch, and then it suddenly sprung into life due to the shaking movement and sounds caused by the action of the goldfinch. Stanza 3. Then with airy, delicate whistle, chirrup, whisperings, she launches away towards the infinite, and the laburnum subsides to empty. Word meanings: airy, strange in a frightening or mysterious way. Whistle, chirrup, gentle whisper like the chirruping of the bird. Subsides, diminishes or reduces in intensity. Infinite, in the context of the poem, the sky, the limitless sky. Launches, in the context of the poem, flies. Explanation of stanza 3. After reaching the end of the branch, the goldfinch makes a sweet and gentle chirruping sound, like that of some mysterious whispering, and flies away towards the limitless sky. After she's gone, the laburnum tree becomes silent and still again, just like it was before the arrival of the goldfinch. Silence and hollowness descend on the laburnum tree once again. After detailed explanation of the poem, the theme of the poem is quite clear. The poem presents the mutual reciprocating relationship between the laburnum tree and the goldfinch bird. The laburnum tree gives shelter to the bird and its young ones, and the bird, in turn, takes away its dead silence. Thus, the poet wants to tell the readers the importance of interdependence and having cordial relationships in life. Rejuvenation of nature and the celebration of energy is another theme of the poem. The laburnum tree is silent until the goldfinch comes and enlivens the tree with its activities. There are all sorts of sounds and movements on the tree. Soon she shoots away into the sky, plunging the tree into surging silence. Let's focus on the central idea now. In the poem, the poet has used the laburnum tree and the goldfinch as a symbol of life and its fluctuations. The laburnum tree symbolizes the pattern of our life in general, which is usually dull and lifeless. The goldfinch breaks the usual pattern and makes it lively. Without the goldfinch, the laburnum tree is just like another tree. In other words, it is the attitude of a person towards life that makes life meaningful and worth living. Poetic devices play a very important role in any poem. In the Laburnum Top, we have quite a number of poetic devices. Let's discuss them one by one. Symbols. A symbol is an object which represents or stands for another object. Symbols reflect the internal state of mind of the speaker as revealed through the images. Laburnum top is a symbol of peace and serenity, which is an integral part of nature. Yellow September, leaves yellowing are symbolic of autumn and passing age, which brings in its wake decay and loneliness. Goldfinch is a symbol of cheerfulness, energy, and liveliness. Poet has used alliteration in the poem to create rhythm. Alliteration is repetition of a consonant sound at the beginning of two or more consecutive words. For example, September sunlight. Here S consonant sound is repeated. Sudden startlement. Again S sound is repeated. The thickness, the sound is repeated. Tree trembles. Consonant sound T is repeated. Whistle, chirrup, whispering, sound is repeated. Next, we have onomatopoeia. In this figure of speech, a word is formed from a sound similar to it. For example, twitching, chirrup, chitterings, trillings, whistle, chirrup, whisperings. Then sleek as a lizard, the poetic device used in this line is simile. Having made sure that she is safe and secure, the goldfinch cautiously sneaks into the thickness of the tree in a quiet and quick manner. A lizard has a similar movement when it passes through a narrow slit. Personification is a figure of speech in which an idea or thing is given human attributes or feelings or is spoken of as if it were human. The whole tree trembles and thrills. Here, laburnum tree is personified. A metaphor is a figure of speech that is used to make a comparison between two things that aren't alike but do have something in common. It is an indirect or implied comparison between two things. For example, engine of her family, the noise of the engine is identified with the noise and commotion made by the young ones of the goldfinch. A machine starts up. The expression refers to the commotion created in the silent tree when the bird goldfinch starts feeding its young ones. Her barred face identity mask, the shadow of the flowers on her face looks like as if she is wearing a mask. Next, we have transferred epithet. When an adjective usually used to describe one thing is transferred to another, an epithet is a word or phrase which describes the main quality of someone or something. For example, her barred face identity mask is an example of transferred epithet in this poem. The flowers of the laburnum tree fall like bars, and when the bird sits behind the flowers, the shadow of the flowers on her face looks like she is wearing a mask that has bars on it. Enjambment. In poetry, enjambment means moving over from one line to another without terminating punctuation mark. The continuation of sentence beyond the end of a line or a stanza or a couplet is used in the poem through the words still, in, chirrup, a suddenness, branch end, showing, and stanza 3. That with airy, delicate whistle chirrup whisperings, she launches away towards the infinite, and the laburnum subsides to empty. You can see the meaning runs over from one poetic line to the next without terminal punctuation or pause. With this, we come to the end of this session. I hope that all your doubts related to the poem are clear now. If you still have a doubt or a query, feel free to drop a comment and I will get back to you. Thank you so much for watching right till the end. If you like the video, do hit the subscribe button right next to the bell icon. Keep watching English tutorials by Poonam Thakur.